cuts are the hot topic right now. Last week, the Fed finally did their first rate cut. I think it was 4.5 years, and they did 50 basis points. And all of a sudden, all our clients, like literally that morning, as soon as they announced it, I had like 3 clients email and call me like, "Hey, so I just saw what happened.
Yeah.
Does that mean like is now the time to refinance?"
Yeah.
Let's slow your roll. Let's talk about that. Like everybody thinks that when the Fed lowers the rate, it's going to be immediately like the mortgage rates is also lowered by 0.5%. No, in fact.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Real Estate Seattle. Today, we're really excited. We got a couple of our friends here with us. We also work with them, but they're really our friends as well. Henry, I want to let you introduce these gentlemen who are sitting with us.
Yeah, so over here we have our friend Duane Lockett. I've known Duane since the college days at UW. He was in a different fraternity, but we crossed paths many times, and for the last 20 years, and 21 for him, he's been in the industry as a loan officer. We've worked side by side, so friends and clients who are watching this, Duane, you probably work with him because he probably does 70 to 80% of the purchases that we work on. And so got Duane, and then next door, or next to him, we got Jim DeMarco. Jim is a transplant from many places, but most importantly, his hometown is Buffalo. Diehard Bills fan, Josh Allen. He had to go through the Scott Norwood wide right years and all the bad stuff, but he's getting the glory days right now. And he was in Arizona for a while working, and he was in Portland, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Now he's at his new home in Seattle. And so Jimmy and Duane have worked together for nearly a decade, I want to say.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, both of these guys work side by side with us. And when it comes to a question that I think I know the answer to, but I'm not sure, call these guys first. And so super excited to have these guys. Again, great people, true real-life friends, and phenomenal loan officers and people in the industry. So excited to hear their take on the news and current events with our industry.
And we're hoping that you guys still want to work with them after seeing how they look. Just kidding.
We promise it's actually coffee.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
But, you know, great intro. We love working with these guys. I kind of wanted to get your take on, obviously, you guys are all familiar with rate cuts and what everybody's talking about. What are you guys like seeing in real time? What are people asking you? What's kind of like the vibe you're getting from the market, from other realtors?
Well, it's like rate cuts are the hot topic right now. Last week, the Fed finally did their first rate cut. I think it was 4.5 years, and they did 50 basis points. And all of a sudden, all our clients, like literally that morning, as soon as they announced it, I had like 3 clients email and call me like, "Hey, so I just saw what happened.
Yeah.
Does that mean like is now the time to refinance?"
Yeah.
Like, well, let's slow your roll. Let's talk about that. Like everybody thinks that when the Fed lowers the rate, it's going to be immediately like the mortgage rates is also lowered by 0.5%. No, in fact, rates actually went up a little.
Yeah, that day. Yeah.
Yes, rates are down over like a year, like exactly 1 year ago, rates are about 1.5% higher.
Yep.
There were 0 rate cuts between now and then. So the Fed, like they don't set rate policy.
Yeah.
Like the banks do. The banks kind of predicted that the Fed was going to lower the rate. And sure enough, they baked that into their rate sheets. It was already accounted for.
I think people are waiting for like Christmas Day morning that day. I remember we have buyers and they're like September 17th, September 18th. And I'm like, oh man, it's not an on and off switch. And so that morning, I know your phone blew up, my phone blew up. I can only imagine what you guys were going through. And it was fun, calm conversations like, nothing's really happening right now. Check back in a week, or and I think the point is these rates were baked in, right? Like they've been baked in for a couple of months. Jim, how many times did your phone ring that day?
Yeah, it's the same story, and it could be disappointing because folks are waiting for an event. They're waiting for something to get off the sideline to say, okay, now's the time to buy.
Yeah.
And we've all been in the business long enough to know that you don't buy because of a specific time or a rate. It's when it's right for you.
Yeah.
And so when we have these events like Fed cuts and different types of financial, news or analytics that come out, sure, it can help. But at the end of the day, like Duane said, rates actually moved in the opposite direction because they were already factored in. So there's other economic data that was presented during the Fed meeting that was saying, hey, we're not out of it to clear now yet. So I think it really is one of those conversations where people are calling, but we as the lenders, we want to be able to say, how do we educate our clients into when this makes sense for you?
Yeah.
So it's good that they're calling because we want that to happen.
For sure.
But it's tricky because then you got people that are under contract that want to say, do we lock down?
Yeah.
We're like,
Yeah.
what do we say to that?
Yeah.
Well, you told me to lock your rate. Well, I didn't say that, but
Yeah.
so it really creates a challenge for us in the lending space.
Yeah, we have clients who are waiting to list because of rates. They're waiting to buy, and I think you nailed it. Most people move because they have to, right? And so trying to time this rate thing is really hard. And in this market where we live, I only think prices are going to go up next year. I'm a little afraid that everybody's been waiting for this rate cut, but nobody really talks about inventory and how prices are just going to go up. And it's
Like I always compare locking in a rate to buying and selling stock. Like you're never going to know the perfect time to buy or sell.
Yeah.
It's just you're never going to know the perfect time to lock in your rate.
Yeah.
It's all market driven. Like we have fluctuations. Like on high volatility market days, we can get 3 or 4, 5 rate changes in one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's one of those things, again, been in business 2 decades now, and Duane taught me, because in my younger years, Duane taught me, he's like, hey, the rate changes multiple times a day. I was like, no, it doesn't. Why did it go up? You should have locked in. He's like, no, Henry, you can't do that. So, it's a little tidbit of information, but you can't actually rate lock until you have a signed reference and sale agreement. So, again, today could be great. Seller decides not to sign until the next day, go up or down. And so it's one of those things where small things like that, you don't know unless you're in the business or, you've done your homework. And so these guys, again, I rely on them so much for basic information about the loan process and then the micro too, the stuff where I don't get to see it every single day. I mean, I've sold multiple homes in my lifetime for myself, bought multiple homes, obviously done this for the 2 decades, and sold homes, and there's questions that I don't know the answers to, and I don't like to say that, but the reality is there's so much information, and to be the jack of all trades doesn't make sense. To have these guys to rely on, and why they're my business, our client's business, our business, is because, again, they're normal guys. If you've worked with us, and maybe I had a chance to work with Duane and Jimmy, these guys are just like me and Akash. It's not a sales job, it's not a pressure job, it's what can we do to make this process as easy as possible? How can we get into the best program for what you're looking for? Is it, Duane, on this house, he got me in on a 7-year. Looking back at it, I was just like, oh, okay, I wanted to pay this home off, and so Duane's like, let's get the rest of it. There's other places where, 30 years makes a lot of sense. And so to have these guys be advocates, not just, on my professional side of things, but through my clients who are my friends most of the time, or your friends or family members, I mean, these guys are the people I rely on most when it comes to business. And so, again, kudos to you guys for what you do, and thanks for how much you guys care about your clients and your friends and the business that you're in. So,
So I wanted to ask you guys a quick question real quickly. Yeah. Imagine Henry and I are in a relationship. We're 25 years old.
Congratulations.
Thank you. When he was very Seattle, and we're 25 years old, right? We rent, we just got out of college. What advice would you give us? Because we're scared of the market, right? We don't know. All we hear is doom and gloom and prices going up, and we don't, unfortunately, work at Amazon or Microsoft. So what would you tell us, some pieces of advice? What would you say? Hey, I know you want to buy a house. What would you do?
Yeah. So I'll take this one just because first, one of the things I think Duane and I excel in, and why I think you guys trust us as consultants, as somebody that you can, pass along clients to for advice, is we approach this from an education standpoint.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this is not like you're walking into a store to buy a pair of sneakers like this guy has. It really is like we've got to approach it from an educational, because to your point, Akash, a lot of the younger buyers that are entering the market or feel like they're in a position, they don't know where to start.
Yeah.
People are afraid, they get concerned, what is, I got to put 20% down payment, or what does this word mortgage insurance mean? And it's scary, and what happens? So having forums like this, I think, is so great. And credit to you guys for putting on together a podcast that I think is going to resonate with your audience, and especially, whether it be first-time buyers or repeat clients. So I think what makes Duane, as soon as I met him, over a decade ago, I knew this guy was really good at what he did, because at the end of the day, I said to myself, would I trust him with my business?
Yeah.
Would I go to Duane for somebody that I wanted to do a loan for?
Yeah.
And yeah, you're welcome.
First time he's heard that.
I mean, there were also a lot of selfish reasons. I mean, I was like,
the cameras rolling.
I was new to Seattle. I'm like, man, I don't know anybody in this freaking town. Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this Duane guy's pretty cool. So I literally just infiltrated his friend group, and I met Henry out of it. And,
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a great journey. But I always go back to, and I think to your point too, Henry, is why we trust the people we work with is they're going to approach this as if they're your family or friends, and they're going to give you the guidance to say, when is it right to buy? Well, it depends on when it's right for you. And you coming out of school, but we're going to talk about, well, let's talk about how do you get a mortgage?
Yeah.
Credit, capacity, collateral. We're going to talk about the facets that help us finance a home. And if you're not quite there, we're going to give you a roadmap to get there.
Yep.
We're going to say, here's some things you can do for your credit to help improve it or to get out of it. Or down payment assistance. Well, guess what? We have a program that's specialized and designed to help for down payment assistance. So there's things and tools we're going to implement, not just from advice and education, but we're going to give you actual tangible things to help you on your path to ownership.
One other thing I would add is that, we're gonna educate you. You want to obviously make an informed decision when you buy your first home, but also don't be scared, because real estate's like one of the number one investments you can make, and it's proven. Like if I would have bought a home when I fresh out of college, man.
Yeah. Right? No, I mean, listen,
20 years ago?
Well, and no joke, I got to Seattle, right? And this was 10 years ago, and I was like, well, I got to find the neighborhoods I want to live in. So I rented.
Yeah.
And I rented for 3 years, where I paid an obscene amount of rent for a fancy building downtown. I got all the fancy amenities. It was cool. But I think back, and my wife even gives me shit for it today, because she was like, told you should have bought that place.
Yeah. You'll get that forever.
So at the end of the day, even though we're talking about this, and it's real. I mean, we really do approach this from education. But to answer your question is, you get in early.
Yeah.
Figure out how to connect and partner with the right people like Henry and Akash, us as lenders, is to figure out a way. A good example, this is a real example. I've been hounding one of my buddies for probably 2 years to go buy a house. He's got all these terrible renting stories, and he's finally making good money. And I'm like, dude, he's like, well, I don't know, I'm trying to fix my credit. I go, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And so let me get an application in. We'll do a soft inquiry. Let me get some visibility. Let me get some eyes on what they're concerned about. You don't got to commit to moving forward. It's not going to hurt you. So he did, finally. He's under contract to buy his first house. And this just happened last month. The reason being is because he thought, because he had a charge-off, a large charge-off, which, look, happens. People go into credit situations,
medical debt,
student loans, medical debt, a lot of things that can come up in people's lives. They're real. But they think that's going to prohibit them from ever buying a house.
Yeah.
Or until they can get out of that. So our job is to get people that are unaware of this, say, hey, look, guess what, Mr. Client or Mrs. Client? I've got you pre-approved for an FHA loan that you can go out tomorrow and buy a house for 3.5% down payment.
Yeah.
How does that sound? He's like, no way. Again, you're pre-approved. Here's your letter. Go buy a house. He was under contract a week later.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of story that are real in our world, because you have to be in front of people.
We see it
in with that education piece.
We see it all the time too, where people want to buy and they think it's just like, we like a house and we're going to buy it today. I'm like, do you know your credit history? Do you know what you can and can't do? Do you know your debt to income? And a lot of times we'll send people to you guys and say, hey, what's the timeline here? Can they even buy next month? Or what do we have to do to get them ready? So we have clients that are in the process of buying. Some will be buying next summer, whether it's paying down a credit card, whatever it is. But I think a lot of people, especially in that scenario, when you're young, you kind of just don't do anything, right? You're afraid of what you don't know. And I think the education part's really huge is, hey, go talk to them and maybe you'll be able to buy a house right now, you don't know, or maybe you'll need to set up a game plan. In 6 months, you can buy a house. But it's just that inaction that happens. Yeah. And then once you do want to buy, it's like, oh, I opened up a credit card last month. And it's like, well, we would have told you not to do that, or whatever that situation is. And I think the education is the biggest part here. And that's why we love working with people that pick up the phones at 8 o'clock at night or on a Saturday night, because sometimes it does become like, hey, I know that person's been talking about it for 6 months, but now we found something and they want to move. And these guys will move on it like, you know, like it needs to be done. What were you going to say, Duane? I think I cut you off there.
You know, educating his client. I was just going to say it. Yeah. It just goes hand in hand with like our job is to make sure first-time home buyers, especially, are educated about the process and know that, you know, they can go out and make a pre-approved offer.
Yeah.
And it's also sometimes market driven in terms of, hey, Seattle Metro versus Puyallup. I mean, so we've got to look at the audience, your client, and say, what's going to be a good path? What's a good game plan? So getting in early in the process, working with our real estate partners is so critical, because where you may not have a product available for you in Magnolia, if you go a little bit outside the area, the metro area, did you know you can have 100% financing with no money down? People are like, no way, how's that possible? Well, there's loans for that. There's grants, there's different down payment assistance programs out there.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know.
Everybody thinks it's 20% down. Like 99% of the first-time buyers I talk with, or not even first-time, sometimes my family and stuff, they're like, 20% down, 20% down.
We have a client now that's 3% down, Fannie Mae, home ready product. You take an online course, 40 minutes for free. And the mortgage insurance on that is literally like a 20% coverage, and it's a small loan amount, but it's like 60, 70 bucks a month.
Yeah.
For 3% down. So it's all about getting in front of people early. And I just was at an event recently where one of the presenters was talking about the Gen Z population, the younger kids coming up. And the statistic is like 25% of them want to buy within the first 5 years out of college. Then an additional 30% want to buy within the next 5 years. So there is not a reluctance or hesitation to buy. I mean, we grew up and we were in the 08 boom and bust that was like, talk about some PTSD we all had about buying real estate, right, guys? I mean, I think we all probably short sold the house or one or two of them. Yeah. It was like one of these things where that, in our world, there was a lot of hesitation to say, is this a risky situation? What should I be prepared for? Well, this younger, they don't even remember that. They were barely born. So I think the part you guys get to play is say,
Jeez, make us feel old over here.
Well, I mean,
barely born. That's true.
Henry was kind enough to leave out our bios about how long we've been in the business, so we'll just leave it at that and not share too much.
You know what these kids are doing nowadays? Like house hacking. Like I have buyers who are like, hey, me and my friend, and I'm like, what kind of friend? Like, are you dating friend? Like, no, just another dude, and we're gonna buy a house together.
No, that's a real thing.
And then rent out rooms. So they're getting real creative.
They are.
Yeah. And a lot of them don't want 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 4,000 square foot houses.
And guess what? We can finance that. So there was a company, this is during COVID, I'm not sure where they're at. I'm not sure if they're still in existence, but they were a company called Co-Buy. And their entire business model was surrounding co-buying opportunities with family and friends. Because you don't need to be married to be a co-applicant or a co-borrower on mortgage. Yeah. We've done loans with people with 4 or 5 family members.
Yeah.
So that's, again, all around in the theme of the hour about education. And getting people in the process, getting them into real estate. Because like Henry's saying, man, you got to get in there early and start to build that wealth. And this is the best way to accumulate wealth.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that 30% of our economy is real estate driven, which is insane if you think about it. That's everything from people owning their own homes to people who work in the industry. And so, like, I always use Bothell as an example. 10 years ago in Bothell, if you bought a house, it's almost doubled now, right? And that's just crazy. More than that, right? And it's just an investment tool. Like if you bought that house 10 years ago, now you have money, you almost have your own bank. You can use that for other things. You can use that for home improvement. Home ownership is the way in this country to become wealthy. And if you do it right, you can even pass that wealth on to people, to your family and friends. Quick story, I bought a house with my brother. I genuinely was so surprised how easy it was to buy, not with a wife or a spouse.
Sure, yeah.
I was like, I get the same benefits, cool, let's do it, right? And I think that's kind of where the younger generation is going. I don't even know if y'all want to get married anymore, but
no, that's a real question.
Yeah, no,
I've had a lot of clients recently that they're unmarried, and when I got into the business years ago, it was always that traditional school of thought where, well, if you're not married, don't be buying houses together because of X, Y, Z. That might happen, right? And we all think about that in terms of
now it's like you're married, don't buy a house together.
No, exactly. People are like, okay, so what? I'm buying a house with my girlfriend or boyfriend, okay?
Yeah.
So this is letting these guys talk, but this is very hard for me because they're loud and very animated. That's usually me. So it's
You invited us.
This is one of the real things. I'm hearing all these things. I want to chime in, and this guy these two have the loudest voice. Oh no, yeah. So I mean,
We tried to stagger it to where the two loud ones were.
You can't put me and Jim next to each other.
No, that would have been bad.
so first thing is seeing these guys' facial hair kills me because I have very patchy facial, so I shaved. And now I look at this, and it's a little demeaning for me to see all this facial hair. So you get a random tidbit over there.
Well, at least you're not growing gray in it. So if you don't have it, you won't be able to see the grays coming out.
Yeah,
So,
that's
gosh, you got a few more years.
You got a little gray in there.
Okay, Amy, this is for you. I usually have my wife cut my white hair.
Oh, okay. So
But she's 8 months pregnant right now and can't do it. So I attempted to do it, but here we are. And the more high def this video is, the more you'll be able to see.
I think you're going to be able to get some touch work.
But I am the youngest one here.
Like 3 days.
Just own it.
So what else was we
Days.
talk about? So we had, so one of you guys were talking about buying a place and having people, hack groups.
Yeah.
I did that for 16 years in my condo. I own other real estate. I could have rented out. I just turned and sold, but that makes so much sense. When you're younger, if you're not in a relationship, even if you are, let me go and play. And so that idea behind it, it's like, hey, I'm just got to qualify for the loan and everything else like that. It's kind of one of those cool things where it's like, I had a buddy live with me. It's super fun, so I always had someone to hang out with. I didn't even have to talk to him. But then if they want to go out, let's go out. We'll grab a beer, watch a baseball game, whatever it was. And so that was really cool. And so don't be scared to do that because that makes too much sense, especially if you like the person, your roommates anyway. If they're cool with the idea of renting from you a room, awesome, it's phenomenal. Mm-hmm. The other step, or other point of this conversation that Duane's and I think Akash mentioned as well too, and actually Jimmy too, real estate is the vessel for wealth, to accumulate wealth. Mm-hmm. If you really look at it, and I know we're talking about mortgages and everything, and so I won't talk about this too long, but when you buy real estate and you live there, okay, you get the appreciation, you get the tax write-offs, that's beautiful. Conversely, you buy real estate and you rent it out. Someone else is paying your mortgage. Depending on if you're cash flowing, like my condo that I had, I ended up selling it earlier this year, but the idea of having my condo paid for by someone else, that makes so much sense. Actually, we refied with Duane before Julie and I, my wife, moved into this home because I wanted to build a net zero. I didn't want to make profit off of it. I knew the appreciation was going to be there. But other people say I want cash flow, and so you yourself and other friends have cash flowing properties in Buffalo. I've got friends that buy it handle because they know the $250 they bought their new construction home is going to always be for $250, but they're making $500 a month cash flow after all the expenses, and so that all helps. And so the idea of buying real estate, again, for a lot of the people watching this, for us, we all own our homes because we live there, our families live there. That's great. But for other people too, it's that scenario where having that piece of real estate allows you to buy more. You can leverage that. If you go 4 units and below, you can get residential financing. You go 5 units above, commercial financing. But that is a way where if you become a landlord, whether it's for commercial space, office space, or just rentals for apartment complexes, you're able to use that and leverage your ability to qualify for a loan to buy this property and then have someone else pay for all of it. It's phenomenal. Akash was mentioning yesterday, we were just talking about some commercial real estate. It's like triple nets. When you have an office space or you have a retail space, your tenant actually pays for not only the rent, their insurance, their taxes, utilities, common area spaces. So you're literally, if you put enough down there, you're paying nothing for something that's making you a lot of money in the future. And so, again, this isn't maybe the topic of today, but buying real estate, as long as you have a long-term plan, makes so much sense. I actually hate it. So right now, I mean, in my lifetime, I own 25 different homes. Right now, I have the home that we live in right now, and nothing else. It kills my soul because not only am I in the industry, but I know that I need to get more real estate. So
Got some great rentals in Buffalo.
I was like, I know some people.
I know a guy. I know a guy. No, I mean,
Rentals in Buffalo.
The thing is, guys, and I think we're talking about this a lot, it's the education, but it's also don't be afraid to ask, right? I mean, like, call Henry up. I mean, audience right now, call Akash. Like, these guys will put you in touch with finding the path to get there. It's like, it's intimidating to think about where do I even start? And like we're talking about from a financing standpoint, there's stuff out there, and it's our opportunity to share that with you. And whether it's your first house or whether you want to buy investment properties, we have some of the most creative investment property financing instruments out there that will literally blow your mind as far as, wait, you can do this? You can buy an investment property using just a rental income?
Yeah.
You can buy an investment if you're a business owner property with 12 months of bank statements. Just to show your deposit activity to qualify, or you can do interest only. So, I mean, there's a lot of creativity out there, and this is designed to the audience. Obviously, Jill will know this. And to Henry's point, though, I mean, you got to get in early, and then from there you build.
Yeah, as long as you have that long-term vision, again, the market will go down. You mentioned with, the 08 crash. If we had the wherewithal, the gall and balls to do it.
Mine in 2010?
Yeah, we would have, oh my goodness. Literally,
I still have my mother's voice in my ear in Buffalo saying, you should have bought 5 properties in here instead of that one stupid house in Arizona. But yeah, Mom, thanks. I know. Buffalo didn't crash. Thanks. I'm happy
Even
for it.
taking into account like the crash, like I bought my condo on Eastlake in 07.
Yeah.
And the next year the crash happened,
15 years later, finally.
I was like 100 grand underwater, and I was like, oh, great.
Yeah.
But I stuck with it because my mortgage payment was less than what I would pay for paying rent.
Well, and the thing is, you were living there too, right? And that's the thing we talk about as far as if you're living there, it's your investment.
I ended up selling my place for a profit. Like,
yeah,
real estate will, it's a roller coaster sometimes, but it'll always go up. And sure enough, it did.
I'll give you a great example of the same thing you said. So I bought my condo that, again, I lived in for 16 years. Loved the place. I bought it for $332. When the market crashed, it's probably under 200.
Oof.
Right? At the height of the market, it was probably in the 2015, 16 range. I want to say it was like 750. Then the market came down and kind of flattened out. I think it was in not long ago, but I ended up selling it for $600K. And I almost doubled my money. 16 years. I got so many tax write-offs off of it. I had people living with me that helped supplement my income and my mortgage.
Income,
It's one of those scenarios where,
and I get to be your neighbor eventually.
that's true. We hung out and go to the Great Nabob and they're no longer around. But we had some fun times.
Wow, I have not heard that word.
Big Mario's?
Yeah.
Mario's, great in a bob.
a few times and went to the bars. Maybe even gone to your place afterwards too.
Yeah, probably many times. Again, these are not only business partners; they're real life friends. So you'll probably hear some stories along.
Well, in the condo market, people are always thinking about single family. Condo market, it's it's an interesting market, and Henry and Akash, you guys can speak to this probably better than we can from a real estate side, but you can get into a condo relatively inexpensive here in Seattle still. And so, even if it's not going to produce sort of an appreciation effect that a single family might, it gets you in the door.
Yeah.
It gets you to not pay somebody else's rent. You're paying yourself your mortgage.
Yeah.
So I would encourage people, if you're even thinking about buying, if you can't quite get into that single family range, go grab a condo.
Yeah.
Condo prices are so depressed right now.
Yeah.
Again,
I'll sell you mine. We're the corner here.
give me a call.
He can sell you his and help you finance it.
Yeah.
Just
Great deal.
vertically integrated.
I got tenants in there now. They're fantastic. So there you go, turnkey.
No, Seattle condos, they're a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. Seattle also is very unique, and we have no HOA townhomes, which
Almost all of them are.
almost all of
There's a
them.
lot of new ones coming up.
Yeah, but you can get into, because if you try to buy a single family in Seattle, you're dealing with developers, you're dealing with people who hate neighbors, you're just dealing with a lot of buyers. But if you can step down to a townhome or a condo and be okay with that, that can be an investment opportunity as well for you.
And the rents are typically, once you move out, if you don't want to sell,
Yeah.
the marketability for that after you vacate the property, I think, is a little stronger than a condo.
Yeah.
Condos, definitely.
So yeah, so you guys, you invest, you retain. If you don't need to sell, retain, build that wealth, you convert it to an investment property. Game changer.
Yeah.
Rinse, repeat.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, you said something that blew me away. When you said you don't have any investment properties, I totally not forgot, but it's not on top of mind, and this is the power of real estate. My wife and I own a home in Portland, and I think I talk with the tenant once a year, and they'll randomly just say, you know, Merry Christmas or whatever, and it's like they pay the mortgage, they pay the utilities, and we just sit here and do nothing. And the house, no, seriously, like, and the interest rate on it is pretty low, so we're just like, it's like Ronco said, set it and forget it, right? It just comes in every month, and I totally didn't even think about it until you said that. Like, that's the power of having a tenant paying your mortgage, is you don't have to do much. Like, we could hire a property manager, but it's not that hard, right? One person, it's a couple, and it's really easy to deal with. And if you think about doing that on a bigger scale, that's how families get wealthy. Like, real estate is the way that generational wealth happens, and you can pass on wealth to your kids. I'm about to have a kid, and I'm like, these 2 properties I own, they're yours, right? Like, I already know in 16, 17 years, like, we'll have money and you can do what you want with them. And I'm talking to you like you're born already. This is weird.
Let's get it for yeah. We asked him before the show, hey, you got the baby room ready? Have you got the? Have you nested? Is all that set up?
Yeah, we're definitely nesting. My office is in the garage. Me and a bunch of wolf spiders just hanging out in the garage.
Dude, our daughter's not even born yet, and you've lost your office.
I lost my office in August, and I found out the other day she's not moving into this room until like January, and I'm like, well, why couldn't we let me use the office until January?
Your wife is treating you well, because I remember Henry helped me buy my house. My wife, when our baby was, my wife was 8 months pregnant, and
that's crazy, by the way.
8 months. Both
my gosh.
Henry's wife and my wife were pregnant at the same time. And we're like, all right, who's gonna pop first? And we got like 1 weekend left before we're throwing the flag in. It was like, all right, this is during COVID 2021.
God, I just add more to the.
It was bonkers. But the house had a beautiful big like upstairs kind of great room, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna turn this into my media room. Throw my Xbox up there. Like, this is so many visions of this great room that's gonna turn into my man cave. Dude, I can't even like walk in there right now.
I saw it the other day.
My daughter's 3 years old.
It's like,
I got
just toys everywhere.
my father came to visit, and he's
You
like,
think you're gonna watch football on the TV? but
no, we literally, I have a 77-inch big giant flat screen, the most expensive thing in my house, because I'm treating myself to a nice TV. I watch TV downstairs.
Let me guess. You watch Frozen on that? Huh?
Oh, I've seen it.
Frozen on
100 times.
77 inches.
Oh, my daughter knows how to turn on better than I do. I'm like, what happened here? And my dad comes in town, he's like, I think you guys need more toys. Yeah, thanks. So, Akash, you're in for it, buddy.
Your parents are awesome. You
Oh,
should have bought a
man.
house.
So I was like, thanks, Henry. You got me a great house. Yeah. A beautiful media room. No, it's literally a playroom.
4
Yeah.
floors of toys.
Yeah.
Just toys everywhere.
That's it, man. Dollhouse. And we try to be pretty good about it, but I mean, we just had one Duane. You go to his house, he's got 2 little boys. It's like a hurricane goes through there every day.
Every morning.
Oh god, cleaning is the
Right.
hardest. Like, I'm just like,
Lego imprints on his feet.
And I'm like super like
Yeah.
OCD. with
You're having
cleaning
a good little girl, right?
Girl, yeah.
You guys see the Tom
Got all
Segura?
the
The what?
The Tom Segura skit about boys and girls.
No.
Oh my God, we'll watch it. We're not gonna watch it here, but I'll show it. It's like
YouTube it.
talks about how he's got 2 boys, and his cousin that lives around where he lives has 2 girls.
yeah.
And they come over, and he's like, "What did I do wrong to get boys? Or not? I don't have boys." And it's like he goes through his whole skit, and he's like, they come in, how can they? Oh, Uncle Tommy, may we sit? And he's like, please. And he's like, do you mind? Can we color? He's like, yes. And they sit and they fucking color. And then he's like, where are my boys? Are they in the house? Are they on the house? Oh, they're in the street. Great. And it is the funniest thing for guys that have friends with boys, like boy dads and girl dads. Yeah. And I'm just like, I watched it, I just showed it to somebody else recently and it was on my mind. So I was like, oh, so I'll send it to you guys.
Yes.
But anyways, we're trying to build health, wealth, and real estate for our kids, our future.
Families, yeah.
And this is what we're talking
Future
about, guys.
generations.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's one of those things that, you know, the reason I think why we all do what we do and why we talk about this is because we're living it right now. Right? For us, it's, you know, our family and our kids are so important and to be able to leave that legacy. You know, my parents, you know, they were immigrants and they worked so hard to give my brother and I an opportunity. And
They weren't eating cats and dogs.
whoa, whoa,
I mean, I just want to make sure I'm in a safe place. I told these guys, you want to get a little extra views on your podcast.
That's true.
We gotta get a little
Are those
spicy.
like keywords, buzzwords?
They will definitely.
That's true.
If the algorithms are
AI will grab it. Yeah, the AI will grab it.
Hey, at least I didn't sing a song about it. Okay, I just had to throw a little plug in. But yeah. So
Yeah. Oh no. It's one of those things where, you know, we want to do what our parents did, and if we need to do that, I mean, more power to us because you know, our families, our parents put us in that position. So not to go from super funny and all this stuff, but again, I think we just have a different mindset, you know, where we're at, and again, being
real.
in the early 40s, almost 40.
Come on, don't throw me in that loop.
I'd give a caveat to that.
I got 3 months and 20-something days.
Well, I mean, the reality is, to Henry's
Milk
point, a
it.
lot of us are looking at how do we not just help our family, our you know, nucleus family, but our family around us. I mean, I know with my family and helping them to either find real estate or get out of real. I mean, there's things that they're, you know, estate planning purposes that
Yeah.
we have to be involved in. Sometimes whether we like it or not,
Yeah.
and we step up to do it. And this industry, this business allows us to do that.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's definitely one of those things that we're looking for. You know, my parents, our parents, is right now too, and so it's like, you know, they deserve it. They're in their golden years or whatever you call it. So yeah, I do.
Turned out okay.
It's my brother's. You know, hey David, shout out, big bro, I love you.
Big Shim, what's up, man? we got to get you on here next.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think we can afford my brother.
The speaker engagement fees.
Yeah. Family, it's a family discount.
What?
The family discount.
We're not paying them, right? What are we talking about here?
I thought they're paying us. They're paying us.
We're allowed to sponsor, so by all means, get a camera shot there.
Email or call these guys and get Yeah, but it's no, it's one of those things. You know, I think we all have a good place in our hearts, and why we do this, and why we care so much about our friends, why we care so much about our family and our, you know, our clients. They're all, to me, those are all the same, right? At the end of the day, every client is a friend. Every client becomes family because they're allowing us to be a part of that process of buying a home, you guys financing the home and helping them buy that home and that dream. And so I think it really comes back to, if you don't love what you do in this industry, you shouldn't be in this industry. And that's not a knock on people that are working hard to try to make some money, but I mean, Akash and I breathe real estate. I think our wives, you know, this is my work wife and we're cousins, right? Vice versa. We had dinner the other day and they're like, man, you guys are the same. And me and Akash are like, you guys are the same, right? Doing all that stuff. These guys, right? It's 24/7.
So I got a quick story. The other day, my wife and I are laying around in bed, and I'm just like, and I'm like, you know, baby's coming, and I'm so like just thankful, and I'm like holding her hand. I'm like, babe, I'm so thankful, and she's smiling, and I'm like, I'm so thankful Henry's in my life, and she's like,
Oh my
she's like, what? And I was like, you too, babe, but you know, like.
That's funny. And I can seriously see you doing that.
It was legit, man. She was like,
She told us at dinner the story of Julia was just dying.
Yeah.
She was laughing so hard.
I mean, truthfully, like, okay, I've had a life in real estate before I started working with Henry, and the biggest thing I learned is, Henry, you do a great job of taking care of every single person like they're the only client.
Right.
And not only like they're the only client, but like it's your mom or dad.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what the price point is, how long you've been working with, or how annoying the other person is. That person gets your genuine care and affection, and it's something that I had to learn to do, to treat every single person like they're your only client. And not necessarily like, you know, that's a bad thing, but like you give them attention. You actually pick up the phone call. And I'm saying these things because 90% of y'all realtors don't do them. I call you and you say, what's up on the text message. I'm like, why would you do that? Like, I'm calling you for a reason. Anyways, I digress. It just permeates into your life about like how you take care of people. And you guys are the same way, man. I remember I did an open house like 6 years ago when I was bugging Henry. I was like, I want to work with you, I want to work with you. And he's like, you can do an open house. And then I met Duane, and I was like, man, you're like the same person. Like, family is always top of mind, and it's just like, that's why I said that to my wife. I was like, man, I'm so thankful. Maybe I could have said that after I was thankful for her, but you know, that's where we're at on that.
That's what Akash thinks about a night next to his wife. Yeah. So, I mean, if that says anything about working with this guy, he said, I don't know what else will sell.
He said we breathe and eat whatever real estate. I'm like, I have dreams of like nightmares of like my rental property, my Verbo guest broke something or whatever it is, or like did I check that disclosure line 15? Like did I like, you know, and it's true, but it is part of life, and it's not really work. I hate calling this work. I'm like, my wife's like, what'd you do today? I was like, oh, I hung out with Henry. She's like, do you guys work? I'm like, that is what work is. Like, what do you mean, do we work? Like,
well, you know,
I don't have a punch card.
And it's so true. If you love what you do and you're passionate about it and you're helping people and you feel as though you're contributing in a positive way, it's really not work. It's hard work in a sense that it's hard because our jobs aren't easy. No. But if you align yourself with the right people and you continue to focus on your why, as kind of cliche as that sounds, it makes a big difference. So not to kind of keep promoting and giving all the accolades to
no, go ahead, dude. We got all day.
But he goes, you're great too, Akash. But I mean, truthfully, like Duane and I, we both, and I think most of the people in our work have worked with Henry. And this isn't just to say there's not other great real estate professionals in the marketplace. But
yeah, it is. I'm just kidding.
This guy,
there's
a reason.
Yeah, there's a reason why our friends and family work with Henry, because we know how he operates. We know that he's going to be treating them like they're his only client, and he's going to take care of them. I mean, I have zero worries when I refer a client.
Mm-hmm. And it's tough, but we work with a lot of really good people. And so when we look at this and say, okay, listen, you know, here's the guy we want to work with. And I think it's reciprocated. And we'd say that, and I know it's kind of a delicate topic at times because people want to have choice. They want to have competition. They want to understand and make sure they're getting a good deal per se. But this is not like I mentioned earlier, walking into a shop to buy something and walking out. It's not a transaction. This is a journey.
Yeah.
And to have it with these people is so incredibly important because at any moment that journey can take a wrong turn, and that's your family, that's your earnest money, that's your future. And if you don't have your ducks in a row with the right people, it can be really scary. So we're here to help avoid that potential situation, and you guys are the best at what you do.
Kind of changes the topic up. Speaking of taking wrong turns, our beloved Mariners.
Throwing sports into this.
There you go. Shifting gears.
Our beloved Mariners officially died yesterday. I don't know where to even begin because a couple months ago it was up here and then now it's down here. Jim, by the way, in Buffalo, who do you guys like?
So
you're not a Blue Jays fan, are you?
No. Well, the Blue Jays we have a little bit of an affinity to only because the Bisons, which is a AAA farm team.
What are they called?
The Buffalo Bisons.
Buffalo.
So you get the Buffalo Bills and then the Buffalo Bisons. As far as Buffalo.
Bison. Seattle.
Which technically
it's Bison.
Bison.
Because he says Paisan, so that's why it's Bison.
Yeah. Apple versus, you know. So
I was like, what?
So
What's a bison? Like a bison? Like
it's an Italian buffalo.
Buffalo. So yeah, it's
we'll put captions on this for you guys.
Good luck. Yeah. So we're kind of all over the place with baseball. Don't hold it against me, but I am a Yankee fan. So my grandfather, my father, we're all historical Yankee fans back to going back generations. But I loved moving to Seattle because you had this fortune to have such great history, and I was a huge Ken Griffey Jr. fan, Tito Martinez, and these guys, amazing. That's why I was just like, how can you not be a fan of that team?
God, Tino, he became a Yankee eventually.
He did, so that's why I kind of like,
Phelps, Steve Buehler.
Yeah, man.
Hitchcock, we got a lot of trades. Steinbrenner, we made a lot of trades.
A-Rod, I mean,
Boo.
I know, isn't that crazy?
How dare you say that
I
name?
know. Anyway, so yeah, it's the sports season, the sports teams up here. I moved here when the Seahawks won their first Super Bowl, so I was like, here I am living in Belltown, and the Super Bowl parade that night, and I'm like, wow, this is what it's like.
Hey, I was gonna say, maybe
This is what it would be like.
maybe when you move back to Buffalo, they'll win their first.
Dude, I told my friends, if the Bills ever win the Super Bowl, I'll wait till the city stops burning down, and then I'll move back.
If they win the
place will go bonkers.
If they win the Super Bowl, you won't be able to rent a table because
No,
everybody
it's
will
all
be jumping
down.
through a table like crazy.
The history,
Yeah.
the misery. I mean, then at ESPN, the 30, whatever the
30 for 30. Scott Norwood.
The four falls of Buffalo. I mean, like that just like brought back so much pain. I saw a lot of grown men cry on that Super Bowl. But to your point, moving here has been really fun because you get so much sports activity and
I mean, both our teams are 3-0 right now.
yeah. We were just talking
I got
about
full
that.
faith in our Seahawks. I don't know.
Well,
Bills
Josh
look
Allen's
good.
apparently overrated, so I don't know
How's it true?
where that came from. But apparently there was a lot of talk of that in the season that he's overrated. So I don't know how that looked at during Monday.
Everyone loved Josh Allen. They're drinking the Kool-Aid. It's like, hey, James Cook doing this. You got to appreciate that.
That's just going to help us win.
No prima donnas, no Diggs is gone.
Yeah.
You got actually new Arsenal
Yeah.
guys that actually just want to play team ball. So.
It's definitely a team, and that's what it's a team, right? You can't have any toxic
Yeah,
situations.
sure.
Then,
Percy Harvin effect for us. I mean, you get those bad eggs in there.
didn't he come to Buffalo for a year too?
Jeremy Stevens,
Yeah.
the Jeremy Stevens of the world.
Yeah. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I think the Seahawks. I'm a big fan. I tell everybody, look, if they ever play the Seahawks, Bills play Seahawks in the Super Bowl, it'd be a tough. I'm still.
Don't lie. You're about Bills all day.
But it'll
be surrounded by Seahawks.
be tough to hide it because I'll be like, yeah, go Seahawks, but I'll be like,
I don't even think we'd want you on the fan wagon at that moment.
I did relinquish my fandom one time when I was really pissed off the Bill. This is like the first couple of years I was here, and I was like, this is just, you know what? I'm gonna root for the winners. And I got so much. I still get to this day, like 8 years later.
You got SNU game in Buffalo.
Oh,
yeah, for sure.
yeah. Be careful what you post on social media; it never goes away.
Yeah.
Like I get a memory show up. I'm like, oh man, why did I just have to leave?
Yeah.
The only team they'll take you in will be the Bisons.
The Bisons. I love Buffalo Bisons.
Well, gentlemen, anything else we want to talk about?
I don't know. Yes.
I just want to say one more time, like I love that this conversation surrounded, home ownership, education, how to get the resources to start the process, and the people, most importantly, you want to work with, because it's a journey, and you want to be able to align yourself with the people that are going to not just make sure you're successful, but they're going to look out for your interests. They're going to guide you along the way. Akash and Henry, you guys are, like I said, the dust of the business, and Duane, this guy, you obviously work with us for a reason, and Dwayne's the best at what he does. So, appreciate you guys having us on.
Yeah, no, it's
thank you.
on that note, Jimmy. It's like we always tell our clients, when it's a friend or for whoever, is build popular relations. And there's been times where they've talked to us like, hey, we love you, we have to use a family friend, stuff like that. But a testament to why we love these guys, why you trust them, because they always take care of their clients. And so even though we bring them on and we're not the broker of choice, hypothetically. I know Duane has worked with tons of people that I've brought him to the table with. They're like, we love this guy. No, we can't use you, Henry, for X, Y, and Z reason. That's okay. I was like, we should definitely talk to Duane. Duane is your man. He'll make sure you're taken care of. And so, again, it kind of goes, there's situations that you have to work with people you trust. Whether it's a real estate broker, whether it's a lender. You have to trust them because for most people, this is the biggest purchase of your life. And it's probably for the best reason. Whether it's for family, whether it's for growing wealth down the road, whether it's for just you need a change of scenery, and you can move somewhere, you want to plant roots into a certain neighborhood. Surround yourself with people that care. Surround yourself with people that are genuine. Again, Akash mentioned that calling him at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I'll text Jamie all day. I'll reach out to Duane. They'll be like, I'm with the kids. I was like, if this wasn't an emergency, I would call you. Call me.
Yeah.
And he'll answer his phone call. He's like, I'm with my kids right now, and again, that's secret time. We don't have enough time with our family, or even with Julia. Like we're on, I'm on a date with her. I don't do that often, but when I do, I was like, I can't answer. And it's like, hey, I need to get a hold of you. You make those sacrifices because, again, these people trust you to be there for them, and so you have to do those things. And so this group, this stat 4 of us, I think it's a testament that we really do care. These guys really do care, not about closing the deal, but closing on the home that will be your future, whatever that happens.
The experience.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it, Henry. I mean, when you talk about helping somebody buy their first home or finance their first home, man, it could be a process. And at the end of the day, when they have those keys and they're like, I can't believe I own a house.
Yeah.
It is the best feeling.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Hell. You know, when people cry and they tear up, they hug you, and they're like, I never thought I could do this. You're just like, oh, jeez. Because I'm emotional, I'm crying. So.
Yeah.
And they're like, you could have done it without you. It's like, what do you mean? This is all about you.
Yeah.
You know. And it's one of those things, and even thinking about, just a couple people recently, it's like, it made me tear up. But you guys welcoming us into your world and to be a part of that process is truly such an honor. And so, again,
That right there shows me why I continue working with you. You know,
Yeah.
I want to keep.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
This is why I send my friends and family to you.
So if you want to see us cry, reach out to us and we'll help you with a house. All right.
awesome guys. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for the invite.